What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Real Word Podcast, a place where real thoughts, real ideas, and real words come to life. I'm your host, Drew, coming from San Diego, California. Thank you for stopping by, tuning in, checking out the channel. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit up those links down below if you want to help out the channel. Hit up that Robinhood link if you want to get a free stock. You get a free stock, I get a free stock. It's a win-win for all. If you want to help out everybody on the channel, that includes myself, my brother from Drew and Chase Side by Side, and then also my buddy Zach. You can hit up that email down below and see if, you want to throw some money our way or something, or help us out in any way possible, sponsor us, whatever. Reach out in the email, and that'll go directly to me. You can check us out on social media. Like I said, those links are provided down below. At the No World Order podcast is where we go live on Instagram. Usually Tuesdays or Thursdays at 2:30 p.m. So yeah, that is all of that good stuff. Yesterday, me and Zach actually did an Instagram live, and it was actually a really good episode. I definitely recommend going and listening to it. We got into so one of the main things, there was basically just two things we were kind of talking about for the whole hour. One of them being, is Donald Trump a racist? We kind of go over some quotes he said in the past. We kind of go over some things that, so like I said, I try not to be, just completely one-sided. So it's like, I will point out the facts of why I think he's not a racist, but I won't deny, and I did point out that there's some things that he said in the past that are pretty questionable. So we get into that, but then the main topic that we spent like 35 something minutes on was underground tunnels. And, starting with this report coming from the Playboy Mansion, and how there's underground tunnels connected to celebrity houses at the time in the 70s. So you can go check that out on Instagram Live, or the audio only will be uploaded today at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you could check that out if you don't want to watch it on Instagram Live or on the IGTV. What I was just grinding up there was this Platinum OG from Farmer and the Felon. We're just going to get into a couple little snaps of that. My dad broke the bowl piece yesterday, so we had to get a new one. But I actually like this one a lot. He went and bought another one, but the hole inside the bowl piece was like way too fat. Tried packing a bowl, and the flour just went all the way through. I was not able to smoke out of it, so then he went and exchanged it for this new one, and this new one works out pretty good. Man, I've never had anybody go through as much glass or break as much glass as my dad, and I don't understand what he does. I don't get it, but he's broken so many bongs and dab rigs and bowl pieces, and I don't get it. It's like, I am so careful with I've broken, don't get me wrong, I've broken some stuff as well, but he has broken like countless number of things, and I don't get it. But yes, of course, it's glass. Things break. You have to be careful. That's why I try and be as careful as possible. I'm, very meticulous with how I clean things and where I set them. And, then you just get somebody who just doesn't really care and just willy-nilly about it. Just, I don't know. I've the funny thing is, I've rarely actually seen him break it but I'll usually come back home from doing something and then he'll be gone, or oh yeah, broke this, I gotta go run and get something. And it's like, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because it's like I can sit on a glass piece and a bong and all that for years, man, and not have any issues. But for some reason, he just keeps breaking stuff, and I don't get it. But yeah, so that was yesterday. Also yesterday, once the Instagram live stopped and we uploaded it to the IGTV, both me and Zach were tagging some people who we kind of shouted out or who we credited in the episode. And got to give a shout out to Steve Woods from Ben and Woods 97.3 The Fan, because I tagged them because we got into a little of the Denver International Airport. And I remember a few weeks back, during the rabbit hole segment for Ben and Woods, they actually switched, and Ben Higgins did the rabbit hole this time, and he got into the Denver International Airport. And I just knew when we were looking into the tunnels and gonna be talking about that segment, I just remembered them doing that, and wanted to bring that up as well. So I tagged Ben and Woods, and Woods actually had a little brief interaction with us, which was pretty cool. I guess Zach had listened to him from way back in the day, from I believe when he was in Texas. So it's pretty cool that we kind of have that connection where it's like I've been listening to them just because they came here to the sports radio station, and that's what I listen to basically every morning. And so for Zach to know one of the guys without me knowing that he knew him, and then us kind of having that connection as well, was pretty cool. But yeah, Woods was awesome, man. And then I had to send him a message because me and my brother, we do that Drew and Chase side by side, and on episode number 4 of that series, we put up Jason Isbell's Southeastern with Mac Miller's Watching Movies with the Sound Off. And I just know Woods has mentioned Jason Isbell, more specifically that Southeastern album is like one of his all-time favorites, or one of his favorites, especially during this quarantine time. So I just messaged Woods, just telling him about the channel, the podcast, what we do. It started just at the beginning of the year. I'm not trying to get him to promote it or anything like that. I just wanted to send it to him to be like, hey man, just check it out if you want, because there's that connection of my brother really loves Jason Isbell and that album, and that's why he chose it. And I just thought he might enjoy it, and there's that connection there. And I had a little funny interaction with them on Twitter this morning. Man, Woods always starts the show like 15 minutes or so by himself, while Ben gets in a little bit later and gets himself situated and all that. But man, this first hour of today, they were just talking bread. And no, it wasn't talking about money. They were literally talking about bread in the freezer. And it was just really funny. So I tweeted something like that out, and they retweeted it and stuff like that. So it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. So yeah, shout out to those guys, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Just that whole radio station, I love that station. I've been with them for quite a while now. Like initially when they switched formats to the sports station, that's kind of right when I started jumping on. They had Dan Celio at first. Then they switched it up. John Quintera came in, and then now he's pushed to the 12 o'clock segment. And now Ben and Woods are doing the morning show. And we got Gwen and Chris in the evening, starting at like 3 or something like that. So, you know, I love it. I love that radio station. And, I try and listen to it every day, at least. Ben and Woods at least a little bit every day. And then, sometimes I don't get to listen to the rest of the programming on the radio station, just due to being busy with other things and stuff. But man, when I was working doing the window cleaning, I would listen to that station just all day. And, yeah, I loved it for sure. I loved it for sure. But let's get into this snap. I've been just sitting on it for a second. So let's get into this. It's that Platinum OG from Farmer and the Felon. Was small nugs, but man, you can't really beat that price unless you grow it yourself. Cheers. Man, that is tasty for like a cheap half ounce, man. Like I said, I don't think you can beat that, man. It was tasty. Definitely has that like OG taste for sure. And you don't really get that from a cheap half ounce normally. But seems like things are starting to change. Seems like things are starting to change a little bit, which is a good thing. So, speaking of Bennett Woods and the sports radio and all of that, I do love sports. So it's been kind of tough, not having baseball going and, all of these basketball. Like I said, I never really watched basketball on TV really. But the fact that these sports aren't back and they're in these disputes, especially baseball, man, like that should be going or at least in motion to get starting, but the commissioner and the owners are really having a battle with the players and just salary, games, number of games. It's just this battle, man. And I was just listening to the radio this morning, and they were saying Dr. Fauci said that it's recommended that they don't even play into October. So, yeah, what are we talking about? Like a 25, 35 game season and then to the playoffs? And I don't know what you do. It sucks that, we might miss out on a season just due to everything going on, but maybe that's what's best. Which is unfortunate. Maybe they can do, I don't know what you would do. Scratch a season, but maybe do like mini games or like a couple different like all-star type weekends or like something like that where it's like they could still play, they could still have fun. The fans can have something to watch and enjoy, but it not be the stress of a season. I don't know. I don't know what you do, but it's really frustrating because, I love baseball, honestly, the Padres, and it's just really tough not having it going on right now because we'd be, in the not quite in the full thick of the season, but it's like we'd be a good past the starting gate of the season and we'd be into it. We'd kind of have somewhat of an understanding of where each team kind of stands and what needs to be improved upon or what they did improve upon. And yeah, it's just kind of frustrating. It really is. And then what you have basketball players not wanting to play, from my understanding. when they are, I think have laid out the plan to where they can play and can operate. But for some reason, I haven't really looked into it too much. I'm only going off of what I've heard. But from what I've heard is like the players aren't really wanting to play and they're not eager to come back and perform and play during this uncertainty. And that's just frustrating because I mean, it seems like we've seen the data, we've seen the numbers that it's not as bad as they say it was. And it is interesting. It does seem like now, I mean, I know that there's still protests going on, but the media coverage of it seems to have died down. And it seems like now they're back to pushing more of the COVID talk and worried about the spiking numbers and things like that. It's just, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I really don't. It just seems like they're just gonna try and keep us locked down for much longer. They just seem to like keep giving us little tastes of freedom, and then honestly, I just feel like they will eventually lock us down again because everybody was out protesting. We got these spike in numbers, and it's really unsafe now. There's too many people. But it's like we already know asymptomatic people aren't spreading it, and it doesn't really spread on surfaces, or both of those things are really rare for it to happen. So, not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying there isn't a virus going on, but I do think it has been exaggerated. I think the numbers have been inflated. You can go check, probably a month ago or so's episodes, and I'm, really talking about all of that. But it just seems like it got away from the daily rotation news for a while, but it seems like it's kind of coming back. I did read if in compliance schools here in San Diego can start to open, which is just weird because now it's summer. Maybe they'll start some summer school classes or something like that. But I did read, yeah, public schools, charter schools, and it just, I believe it said like all schools were gonna be able to open if able to fit the criteria of being in compliance with the guidelines. So, and from my understanding, my buddy Zach and his wife, they like work in the school district, and it just sounds like their guidelines and what needs to be done is kind of ridiculous and doesn't necessarily make all that much sense and would almost be impossible to kind of manage. But I don't know if because they're working with more special needs kids that it's different. I don't know. But from my understanding, it just seems almost impossible for it to really kind of happen in that sort of way. But we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do, what schools decide to do, if they decide to, just fall in line, follow orders, and just go on with this as being the new normal, where you're getting temperature checked every day, wearing a mask all day, whatever the guidelines are. If this is going to be the new normal and they forget to kind of roll back these guidelines, that's kind of what I worry about, is that these things will kind of stick. Because it just seems like once they, implement stuff, it's just really hard for them to kind of take it back. Because there's always going to be a virus, there's always going to be a flu, there's always going to be a sickness going on. So it's like, oh, well, we might as well just always protect ourselves now, But it's like these masks are not, protecting us, and they're causing us a lot more harm. From my understanding, from experts and from even the people who we, don't consider experts, like a Dr. Fauci, who is an expert, in the mainstream eyes, but people like me question his motives and things like that. But other people have said masks don't work. He said the masks don't work. So I gotta, kind of say the masks don't really work. Um, at least for the healthy person, not dealing with anybody who has COVID, like in your immediate family or household. So it's interesting. It is very, very interesting. I did want to bring this up because it's something that I did see from Disaster, the battle rapper, and then I just wanted to look it up a little bit. I didn't get a chance to dive too deep into it, but I don't think this is going to be presented on the mainstream news and things like that. But like I said, I'm going to look more into it, but I just wanted to touch on it just real quick. Because I did find it interesting. So sounds like North Korea is on the verge of a war again. From my understanding, it sounded like South Korea was sending propaganda up to the North. North didn't like that, and they kind of retaliated. I've been threatening to enter into these demilitarized zones and kind of start taking over, something like that. Like I said, I just kind of heard about it from Disaster just like yesterday or something, and then tried looking it up just briefly this morning, but I didn't get a chance to like fully deep dive into the topic. So that is something I'll probably bring up on Friday, or we'll bring up on the No World Order podcast, IG Live, or an episode of that. But I do find that interesting because that could be big news, and you won't really see that on the mainstream because they don't really, if it's not what's going on right here right now to keep us distracted, then they don't really want to play it. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. Like I said, this is all just it does seem real because I did look it up and saw multiple articles. It wasn't just from Disaster. Like, I'm not just trusting one source of information. Like I said before, how it usually works for me, I'll see someone post something, I'll hear someone talk something crazy on a podcast or something, I'll be like, no way, and then I'll go do my own research into it and look it up myself and verify it for myself, and that's how I, get a lot of my information, is just hearing things, seeing things, and then just doing my own research on it. But it's really interesting because I've been able to kind of see the playbook being played out, man. Like I said, you can kind of go back and listen to these episodes, and I've been right with a few things for sure. Like I said, I did not think it was going to be this race type war thing going on, this mass division like that. But I guess if you looked at it not even more closely, I guess it was right there from the very beginning, because they've been calling everybody white supremacists. They've been calling everybody Nazis who, if you disagree with the left, you're getting that label thrown on you. So it's like, I guess you could have seen it coming, because they've just been prepping you for everybody who's white, who doesn't agree with the left agenda, to be a racist, to be a Nazi, to be hateful, and Russian agent, you're a bot. Like, you just get attacked and name called just for being on a different side politically, or pointing out the bad things on that side. Because like I've said, I don't really fall into the two-party system, and I would definitely be more libertarian than anything, and I point out things on both sides, So that's kind of what it is. But I guess, like I said, if you looked at it and really saw what they were doing, and you could have called this race thing, I guess, because they have been preparing for it for over like 4 years now. and just calling everybody a racist and a Nazi, and it's just so crazy, man. It's like I I know this had to be what happened, you know? And it seems like we're all just being played right into it. And it's frustrating. Even the people who I thought we were like who had that understanding, or who I thought we were like close like that, they're like even saying some crazy stuff too now, and I'm like, man, I thought you weren't gonna be played into it, but now you're talking just as much shit, and like, oh fuck Donald Trump, and oh, I won't support anything that support. Like, man, do your own research, like, for real. Stop playing into the media. And by all means, if you're educated, and and if you still don't align with him politically or anything like that, go ahead, vote with your dollar. 100% boycott those businesses, don't shop there. But don't just be blindly posting this shit. Like I said, I'm not gonna be quiet anymore. If I see some bullshit or some false information, expect me to start chiming in, because I can't deal with the fake news, the false information, and the lies being spread. And hey, if I post something wrong, if I'm wrong about something, please, let me know, because that's what it's about. Hey, I might get a little, in my feelings, I might get a little defensive, but it's like, if it's truth, I'm all for it. That's what I want. Like, it might hurt a little bit, might go against what I believe, but if it's true, it's true. And that's what we all got to kind of focus on and realize is the truth, man. We got to just focus on the truth. Stop, playing into this division and this hate, and we can't fall for it, man. We cannot fall for it. It's interesting. I have one more thing that I wanted to talk about, but this just popped into my head right now. It's interesting because Ice Cube, I've mentioned him a few times over the last couple weeks now. He's just been going crazy on Twitter, man. He's been talking a lot of stuff. Some of it was, really, I would say almost racist against white people or whatever, but he's been talking about this shit for a long time. But recently, over the last few days or so, he just posted a bunch of truth stuff, which was really interesting, like Black Cube of Saturn, and just really interesting truth type things. And then his account got suspended or something, and now there's this whole rally behind Ice Cube in the truth movement, like, oh yeah, look at Ice Cube, he's sticking up for us. But just like a couple months ago, you were calling him like a agent paid off by the CIA and stuff like that, and it's like, I would almost agree with that theory a little bit more than him kind of really exposing the truth. And maybe it's to get out ahead of all of that. Oh, you're part of it and stuff like that, and how could I be part of it? I was exposing it and I was telling the truth. And who knows, man, who knows? But that's an interesting thing to kind of keep our eye on and pay attention to, if he keeps going with that truth. And if he ends up suicide by gunshot to the back of the head, we'll see. We will see. But I just find that really interesting, how there's kind of been that switch. And yeah, it was just funny because I had that interaction with his Twitter, not him personally, but I just posted something on his Twitter and it got like the most interactions I've ever got on Twitter. Maybe not. There was one time I tweeted something with Mod's son and he retweeted it, and that got like a ton of traffic and interactions. But this one was up there too. It was pretty funny. Man, people are like so hateful on that stuff too, because all I did was ask if it was the same guy who got arrested from the video with the mugshot. Doesn't look like the same guy, honestly. And people just started like calling, people like Russian bots and far right extremist propaganda and Q truthers and 4chan board reader and stuff like. Go listen to my shit, man. I've never been a Q truther. I've never been to a 4chan forum, 8chan forum. I don't even know what those are. No idea how to access them. I don't know what it is. And I don't know where to find Q information. And all the Q information I've heard has been bullshit to me. So for people to just like attack you like that without even knowing you and then just kind of like putting these assumptions on you, it's pretty funny, and it just shows you where they're at. And this one guy who was doing all that name calling blocked me, and I didn't even respond back. So it's like, these are the types of people that we got to deal with and kind of navigate through. It's like, I post something to like literally and legitimately ask a question, and then people just hate on it so much. And to me, like, if we want true and real justice and change, those are the things we need to be going after. Is like, man, if they're straight up lying to us, pulling a bait and switch, who knows? That guy probably isn't even going to jail. You know what I mean? So it's like, if they're lying about who they're putting in jail, who knows if they're lying about even being in jail. You know what I mean? So that's the true justice, in my opinion, is like figuring that shit out. And that comes from the top down. So it's like, if, and then I would have to call out Trump and everybody for that shit, because it would seem like everybody would have to be involved. I'm sure everybody has seen the videos, everybody has seen the mugshots, and nobody in the mainstream is questioning that it's these guys look different. Like, it doesn't even look like the same guy at all. It makes no sense to me. So it's like, it seems like all the media and all that shit is compliant. And if we want true justice, that's kind of what we need to focus on, instead of, destroying our communities and stuff like that, which I've seen a lot less of, but it still is happening. It still is happening. People are still burning things across the country, still, looting. Like I said, the mainstream media has, touched on it less and less, but if you go on social media, you can still see pictures and still see videos of this stuff happening still. I guess one more thing I did want to touch on before my last topic. So there's that Chaz or Chop thing going on in Seattle. Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone or Capitol Hill Occupy Protest or something like that. So there's a couple different names, but man, they've like bordered her off this like little 6-block, from my understanding, little area on Capitol Hill. They're charging people to like come and go. They're starting to like extortion the city, and it's really interesting. I kind of got to pay more attention to that and see what ends up happening. I know Zach doesn't really believe it. I'm not going to really speak for him because, he hasn't said that on record or anything like that. But we were talking just in private conversation, and from my understanding, he just doesn't seem to really believe it. And I don't know. Mainstream media isn't really covering it too much. A lot of what we're seeing is from, social media and independent news journalists and things like that. So it's a really interesting time. That is something to kind of keep our eye on. If they keep it peaceful, and but I know it's not, because they got like guns and they're like arming people who should not be firing weapons and having guns and things like that. So I'm all for people coming together and as a community and making this change. Like, I'm all for that idea. But how they're acting upon it, I'm not for. But hey, like, if you're forcing people to like kiss another dude, and then like if you're forcing people to stay in there or pay a tax, or not letting people leave, or having the border armed by this security that's not even real law enforcement. Like, I thought these people were against cops, and now you are the cop, and it's a really confusing thing, and that's something that I kind of got to look into a little bit more as well. Shout out to Elijah Schaefer, I believe is his name, Slightly Offensive, on YouTube, from my understanding. He did a little walkthrough, and he's been in or to that CHOP or Chaz zone. And he took did a little walkthrough. He was on Steven Crowder and showed some video there as well. So yeah, that kind of gave you like a in-depth look as to what's going on. So I guess they're letting people in and out. I don't really know how that works, or what the deal is with entering and exiting, but I thought you weren't allowed to leave or come and go and stuff, but it does seem like he was able to leave. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with all of that, man. It's all just really, really confusing. It's crazy out there. It is a crazy, crazy time out there. Let's get into this snap, and then I have just one more little topic kind of on subject. So, cheers, everybody. All right. So this last topic I wanted to get into, again, I didn't read too much about it, but I saw it this morning, and I guess it's from yesterday. It sounds like Trump has signed an executive order for police reform. He did state, though, that as like the police in some aspects are underfunded and don't have enough manpower and stuff, which I don't really understand that, but I think this is a good step in the right direction. I mean, police reform hasn't been done in a really long time, if ever. Obama never did it. Bush never did it, from my understanding. Clinton, so these people who are complaining about President Trump and how he didn't go far enough or whatever, it's like, you guys have been in politics for decades and haven't made any changes. And this is his first presidency and first shot in politics like that. And he's, making changes. He's hearing the complaints going on, and he's making changes. And from my understanding, this police reform calls for incentives to the good officers, and then a couple other things, but also, they're going to start banning chokeholds or something like that. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what other training would be necessary, because Steven Crowder made a really good point where it's like, if you watch the UFC, nobody has ever really sustained real damage from being choked out, like a chokehold. It just doesn't really happen. You get injured a lot when there's these other submission moves or restraints that they do. That doesn't seem like it could be much, but like a little like joint lock on your arm or something, and then it pops and your fucking arm is broken. So it's like, would you rather restrain someone, choke them out real quick, make them go unconscious, or struggle with somebody, break their arm, break their, like, have their knee go out, tear something in there, and have them do like real damage like that. So I don't know what you do for the police, because it seems like if you're dealing with somebody who is resisting, who is fighting, um, reaching for your reaching for your weapon, like, I know this isn't all the cases all the time, but this happens, and people on drugs, like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do to those people? They can withstand the tasers. They can, they're fighting, and it's like multiple officers are there. What do you do? From my understanding, you would have to choke them out. You know, you would have to control them by that. So I don't necessarily agree with no more chokeholds, but we'll see. We'll see what. But yeah, some of these like Democrats are saying it's not far enough that he signed this executive order. At least he's doing something. He's listening and at least doing something. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but at least he's doing something. But yet the media is going to say he's not doing anything and hasn't addressed the issue. Don Lemon, get the fuck out of here. Man. It's crazy. It is a crazy, crazy time right now. That's kind of all I had today. This is a long episode. It's good. I kind of had a feeling it was going to be long. I kind of wanted to test myself a little bit and see what it was, how long I can kind of go. Like I said, some of these topics I got to do a little more research on, but I just wanted to point them out. Just because I found them all pretty interesting. Yeah, especially that last one, man. Like, at least he's doing something. Honestly. And that's kind of a good first step, right? At least he's acknowledging it, and all we can do is start moving forward and hopefully making positive changes. So, we shall see. Let's get into this last snap, and then I will get on out of here. It is my birthday tomorrow. Nothing's really going on. Gonna have some dinner with the family in the evening. Other than that, not much going on. It is Thursday, so I don't really have anything going on. That's usually my day off where I don't have an episode going on or anything like that. So I get to enjoy the day. It probably won't be a great day. It never usually is. Like I said before, my birthday is just usually it just never lives up to my expectation. And now I'm not having an expectation. So that's something I need to learn as well, is just to, not have these expectations for have expectations for myself, judge myself and, do the best I can do every day, but not let don't have expectations for other people, or that's something I struggle with for sure. But yeah, we all hold people up to expectations and accountability and things like that, and if they don't, you form your opinion, but that's all ego stuff, and it's like we gotta kind of get rid of that for sure. And at least I'm just talking about me. It's like I gotta stop having these high expectations, because then I won't be disappointed. And that's how that works. So let's get into this last snap, and I will get out of here. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Cheers. All right, everybody. I will see you on Friday. And until next time, peace.